there's something taking place on this planet. That's obvious to anyone that will observe. But what is it? What's taking place? What's really going on? What's the premise? What are we arguing over? That's not clear at all. So come back inside of yourself to wake up and realize how little we know about what is happening right now. To realize how little anyone knows. If we'll travel around the globe and collect all the information available, we still won't know much about what's taking place. Right here, right now. What's taking place inside of you? What's making you be the way that you are? So come back to realizing this reality more deeply. To realize it more deeply means that it should affect your behavior more. It should reflect in how you think about how you live your life. Do you realize how little we know? How little any human being knows. How little a human being knows about what it is to be human. And this is an important distinction to pay attention to, is what it actually means to be human and how much we know about what it means to be human. What you are as it compares to what you think you are. What you are has been the same for you, for your parents, for your grandparents. You're all the same being. What you think you are is extremely different for each one of you, for each generation, for each life, for each decade, for each year, constantly changing, constantly updating. So the reality to realize is not something that we can express. We're not realizing anything specific about what it means to be human. We're realizing that nobody knows what it means. Nobody knows. Nobody ever knew. Which means that we don't know. That we never knew. That how much we'll think about it, imagine, search and discover, we still won't know. So to allow this reality to become real, what does it mean to become real? To be involved in how you decide what you do and how you interact with life. How do you interact with life when you realize that you don't know And how do you interact with life when you realize that those interacting with you also don't know? They're all just making it up as they go. This is our nature. We create habits of thought, habits of behavior, and then we justify what we already are. And in this fashion, we make it up. We make up what we think life is based on what we see ourselves doing and how we explain to ourselves why we're doing it. Well, that's very distant from reality. The reason we do things is mostly because we saw someone else do it. And somehow it became ingrained. It's not really related to who we are. It's not really related to what we believe. So return to this realization. The realization of not knowing. The safety of realizing that it's not knowable. Because if it was knowable, then we would be extremely unsafe not knowing. But since it's not knowable, it means that everybody that went through life had to do so under these same conditions of not knowing. Whether they convince themselves that they knew or they realize that they don't know, in reality they didn't know because it's not knowable. However, what people did know is how they function. And some knew much more than others. Some knew they're functioning so well that they could even control the collective from within their individual self. Because the collective is a combination of the individuals. And every individual is linked to the collective through different parts of our organs, different areas in the brain, different functionalities that link us to communities, societies, and nations. We were pre-designed to create these associations with the public, with the multitudes, so that we can create entities together and identify as those entities. So return to observing the wonder of reality and becoming comfortable with the fact that it's going to remain a wonder. It was designed to be a wonder. It wasn't designed so that you figure it out and then it becomes meaningless. It was designed to remain wonderful. And the more we realize the wonder, the more we appreciate the wonder, the more we realize that we are part of that wonder. we are the most wonderful part of that wonder. So allow life to remain a wonder by realizing that we don't understand it and we can't understand it. Life, the fact that biology can create perception and experience, is beyond our capacity to understand. It's simply a wonder. It must remain a wonder. It's a wonder to the spirit, and it's a wonder to the senses, because even the scientists can't explain how you appear within this biological organism. There's no formula, there's no description of you anywhere in science. And so you are a wonder, you remain a wonder. And because you're a wonder, you cannot be understood. You weren't meant to be understood. You're meant to be experienced, experienced from within, experienced in a way where you get to realize your own nature. So the goal of learning is not in order to understand what is happening on this planet. Nobody understands what's happening on this planet. It's in order to understand what's happening inside of you. Because as you get to know how you become, you get to do it better. We'll come back to that realization of innocence. The realization of no matter how much you discovered, no matter how much you've learned, how much you've realized, you're starting now like a child. You don't know. You don't know because you can't know. And therefore you're innocent like a child, trying to understand, trying to relate to the world in a way that is safe, to relate to yourself in a way that is safe. So bring yourself back to this simplicity. To this innocence, to this openness to life, because with what you've learned, there's so much more to discover that is lying in that space outside of everything we know. So we gain access to that space by realizing that that's where the most important information is, in the areas that we don't know. And yet, we are those things. We are reality. We are what's real and what's true, whether we know it or we don't know it. So open yourself up to being more of yourself by opening yourself up to the parts of you, the functions of you, the possibilities of you that you don't know.